Welcome back. This is Girls Only Sports, the Playbook. We've been gone for a minute, but we've been traveling. We've been doing good.
We've been doing some
You
things.
know, we were at the scene of all the action in Indiana and Chicago.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
We hit up some NWSL games and things like that. But, we're all, back ready, rocking and rolling and ready to cover some girls and women's sports. This is your favorite girls and women's sports show, the Playbook. Once again, I am Candace. That is Kay. Please follow us on all social media platforms: Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, X/Twitter. It's mama named it Twitter. We can still call it Twitter. All that good stuff. Facebook and our website, girlsonlysportsnetwork.com. We're going to get right into the show, and it's going to be a really good one. We're going to start off with some soccer in our full court press. We have the NWSL. They are on an international break, so that gives us the perfect opportunity to talk about some of the teams where it looks like it's top heavy right now. So give me your top 4 teams, and I want you to rank them.
Oh, and rank them. Okay, Number 1, I'm going to go 1 to 4.
Okay.
Because I'm still working out the bottom 3. Number 1, I'm going right now, looking good. Kansas City. Kansas City's on a tear. The midfield looks great. They did have a very crushing injury to that back line with Alana Cook.
Yep.
But, Kansas City's rolling, and they're kind of looking like the team to beat. But, again, they were looking like the team to beat last year as well till playoffs came. So, I have faith in Kansas City right now. They look good. Number 2 for me, I'm going San Diego Wave, and I hate to say that. You know me, I'm anti-San Diego Wave. Don't ask why. No, but San Diego looks great. I think whatever Jonas Eidevall, who came from Arsenal, has them doing is working in this American system. His style is working, and I don't think teams know how to stop that style of play yet. So San Diego looks good. They look like they're rocking. Orlando's still in the hunt. I think they've lost a couple where I feel like they definitely should have been able to pull out that win, but I'm not counting them out yet at all by any means. They're a team.
The hardest thing to do is go back to back.
It's the hardest thing to do is go back to back. But again, it's Orlando. Anything can happen. And a team like that it's truly a team that you can see everybody's bought into. So you got to give them. You got to have faith that they're going to be able to pull it out.
Right.
And also on Orlando, shout out to Marta for coming back from Brazil. Because what? Anyway. And then 4th, I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going Gotham. I know they're really low in the table right now, but for me, Gotham is a dangerous team. I know they're always dealing with a little knocks here, knocks there. They catch the injury bug quite a bit, but I think Esther looks great in that number 9. She's a true number 9. She can get goals. She's been scoring goals on the international level. The other day, she looks great. So I think if that attack stays as dangerous as it looks, Midge is being worked back in. Gotham is dangerous. So I look for them to make a push. They're going to get above that playoff line, and come playoff time, they might catch a stride. You can't stop.
They got to be ready because, again, regular season is one thing, but then, they were trying to go back to back last year, right? And, got beat in the playoffs. So our power rankings go Kansas City, San Diego, Orlando, and then Gotham FC.
Yes.
But, it's top heavy right now. It's still a bit early in the season.
It definitely is.
And other news at NWSL, Racing Louisville's Kayla Fisher got suspended. I mean, she was caught in 4K pulling Madison Hammond's hair and kind of, I think it was the yank, because I think your arms are flailing, things like that happens. But what did you think when you saw it? It was just one of those things for me. I'm like, not hair pulling. You taking it all the way back to Lisa Leslie and
right.
Hold on, what was her name again?
I can't even think
of her name. It's on the top of my head. They're gonna kill us because we can't. She's a legend too. She played for Seattle and Australia.
I can't think of her name. I couldn't stand her though. Lauren Jackson.
That's right. Pulling the ponytail off.
Yeah, but that was a crazy scene, and it's one of those things where you're like, if VAR didn't exist, you probably wouldn't have got that. She definitely wouldn't have got sent off, and you probably wouldn't even have got that PK off of it. So it's one of those moments where you're like, VAR is not that bad, but also, again, I'm with you. the initial contact is kind of like, okay, you're in the box, you're trying to fight for position.
It happened.
It was the after. It was the follow through.
Yeah. It's always a follow through.
It's always a follow through. It was a little bit much, but she did issue an apology and everything. So you have to appreciate things like that. Hope to not see it again.
Right.
It wasn't great.
Right. It was just one of those things you see coming down your timeline. You're like, whoa.
Yeah. Right.
Keeping on with our soccer news, the United States women's national team, the soccer team, had a couple friendlies, but one big one against China. They won 3-0. This time, obviously the new Emma Hayes era, they were able to walk away with a gold medal. So they're preparing for that 2027 World Cup. We got to look at their midfield, Sam Coffey. Listen, Lindsey Horan, I know it's heaps, but you are messing me up. You need to tell your husband to change his last name to Horan, because I keep going like, who is Lindsey Heaps? Like, I know Lindsey Horan. Like, I'm making up her new first name because Lindsey Heaps just don't flow.
Right. I got ready to call her Lauren. Right. You were like, who's Heaps? I was about to say Lauren, and I was like, that's not even her name.
That's not even her name. But it's Sam Coffey, Lindsey Heaps, I used to be Lindsey Horan, and then the young one, Lily Johannes. So how did you think they looked during the friendly?
Yeah, I think they look good. I'll say this is one of the most exciting rosters that I think Emma Hayes has released for me. I was very excited to see how a lot of players she was going to incorporate a lot of players. I think the midfield they look good. Sam Coffey looks great. I think for me, Sam Coffey's a player that a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people speak highly of her, but for me, I've never quite been sold on Sam Coffey, so this was one of the games where I was like, all right, like I see what y'all are seeing. Right. I'm a fan of it. Then Lily Johannes young talent is my favorite to watch because the ceiling is so high.
Right.
And
she's probably going to be the staple in the next 3 or 4 World Cups.
Exactly. You're like, you're this good now, and then what's to come is just, there's no words for it. So I'm excited to see what this roster is able to do. There was a lot of new faces. Shout out to Lola Bonta too. One of those players where you think about it and you're like, how has she never been on
like she was the oldest player to get her first cap. I'm like, whoa, dreams never die. Listen.
They never do. And it's like one of those things that just shows you how much of a powerhouse the U.S. has been for all these years. So in this time of rebuild,
half of the front line is expecting.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. In this time of rebuilding, and who's going to fill in pieces while who you thought was the future of your attack and everything like that is out, giving new faces. So like I said, it was nice to see a lot of fresh faces, a lot of caps. I will say also, Michelle Cooper for me looks great. Like, she looks great for Kansas City. She looks great on the national team. I'm a huge fan of Michelle Cooper right now.
And you can't forget, welcome back, Naomi Girma.
Yes, I'm always gonna be bitter about her being in the Chelsea uniform. But when she's the USA girl is gonna forever be my girl. I do. It hurts me. But yes, it's always great to see Naomi back. I'm looking for her to be at her peak game, because I'm like, the Chelsea fans don't even know the player that they have yet, because she's only played like maybe one game looking fully healthy. Yeah. So
we shall see.
I digress. Yes.
We shall see. So they were
very
able
happy to have her back.
A 3-0 win in this new era. So it'll be interesting, like you said, seeing how they piece it all together, having players come in and out. And then we know in women's sports, once most of these athletes have a baby, they turn into Superwoman and Wonder Woman. They get these extraordinary powers. So we'll see what happens when all the team comes back and they start building to not only the World Cup, but also the year after that, the Olympics. Speaking of the Women's League, just transition really quickly. Somebody on here, I ain't gonna say no names, said somebody was gonna get beat 8-0, 8-0, whatever it was called, in the Women's Champion League final. Thank you for the bulletin board material. Arsenal won over Barcelona 1-0. Any thoughts?
No. It was Arsenal's day. I think when halftime hit, I was like, the thing was, like, it was like they had to stop Barcelona in order to win. That defensive line, that back line had to be solid enough to stop Barcelona. And they showed up. That's all I can say. I'm sorry, Arsenal. Listen, I love you. I love y'all.
8-0 is wild.
8-0 was wild. I had brought it down to 5. Okay. I had brought it down to 5.
That's a lot better.
That is a lot better. But yeah, that Leah Williamson had a hell of a game. She looked incredible. She played like the player that everybody says she is, and I feel like she proved a lot of people wrong, because I think a lot of people think she's just popular just because who she is. But I think she proved herself as a leader on that team and a force to be reckoned with, because like I said, you stopped the greatest midfield out there. You stopped a dangerous front line. Took Payor completely out of the game. So yeah, they had Barcelona's number that day, and hats off. Give credit where credit's due. Shout out to Arsenal.
But we'll get expanded opportunities to start watching the women's league, because as most women's sports, as people who tune into us, and that's part of the reason we created this platform, is to highlight all these different women's teams and leagues and players and things like that, because it's just extraordinarily hard to find out when they come on, where they come on, all this stuff. So the women's Champions League just acquired, the U.S. just acquired, CBS Sports just acquired broadcast rights to broadcast the Women's Champions League through the 2029-2030 season. So we get a huge opportunity to see a lot of the international stars play here on U.S. TV, which for us would be beneficial, obviously, with the Olympics coming up in 2028. And then the year right before the World Cup being in Brazil in 2027. So we'll get used to seeing a lot of these names, and hopefully that it being on Paramount Plus, there can be some more viewership and people engaging with the sport that happens internationally. I kind of wish they did that for basketball as well, the Euro leagues and things like that, because a lot of the top talent, while they're still trying to expand and build space in the W, to be able to broadcast those games. So all 75 matches in the upcoming season will be on Paramount Plus, and then a few it's going to be on CBS Sports Network. So we get to look up the Champions League, and hopefully, we don't get another 8-0-5-0 prediction.
Yeah, sorry guys. Sorry about that, Arsenal.
Let's move on to the world of track and field. They had Grand Slam track. We talked a little bit about it in last week's show. Just trying to find new avenues for a lot of these track and field athletes, mostly track, and I'll get into that in a minute, to highlight them during non-Olympic years. And Grand Slam track is a avenue for them to run in prime time. They get a large purse. I think winners get upwards of $100,000. But this particular Grand Slam track event in Philadelphia this past weekend saw Sydney McLaughlin, who's obviously the world record holder in the 400-meter hurdles. She dropped down to try to, see if she had what it takes in the 100 meters and the 100-meter hurdles. Now, this 400-meter hurdler got second in the 100 meters. Not bad.
Not bad for the first time.
Not bad. Shout out to Jamaica's Akira Nugent. She won both the 100 meters and 100-meter hurdles. So she was able to take control and win both those matches. But for Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, second in the 100 meters, she did place fifth in the 100-meter hurdles with 12.7 seconds, which is like, I need people to understand, this lady is a 400 hurdler. This is not a natural sprinter, and she was competitive in the 100 meters and 100-meter hurdles. So I was excited. I'm actually getting excited for Grand Slam track.
It's nice to see them on a different platform, and like you said, outside of those Olympic years,
right?
You are kind of left in the dark about what's going on.
They can break American records, world records, and we would have no idea if it doesn't happen even at a world championship. It's hard to get coverage. So. And building up these matchups and building up potential rivalries, I'm enjoying it. Another matchup that happened was Melissa Jefferson Wooden and Gabby Thomas faced off. They've been going 1-2 these last few Grand Slam events. And in this past event in Philadelphia, Melissa Jefferson was able to win against Gabby Thomas. But shout out to Gabby Thomas, too, because when I tell you if somebody's engaged to growing this sport, Gabby Thomas is everywhere.
Right, she is everywhere.
Listen, if it's a track and it needs some competitors, she gonna sign up and show out.
Right.
And her name comes up once again with another track premiere event that got created last year. It's called Athlos. It's created by Alexis Ohanian, aka Serena Williams' husband.
For
Sorry,
clarification.
Alexis. We got to go by what we know you by. You are Serena,
Right.
this lady right here's husband.
Right.
Sorry, sir. But it's an all women's track event, and it happens in New York City. It will take place on October 10th. They did have an event last year where they kind of brought in, I think Meg Thee Stallion performed. Gabby Thomas was there once again. Masai Russell competed in last year's event, but they got some big names. Sha'Carri Richardson, Gabby Thomas, and then Tara Davis Woodhull, which are probably three of the biggest personalities in women's track, will headline this Athlos event that he created. Like I said, it will take place on October 10th in New York City. And this kind of goes into what we talked about previously with volleyball, is like once there's one, everybody is trying to create, what is going to be
the buy-in starts.
Right, of next big thing. So we have Grand Slam track. Now we have Athlos. To all those track and field fans out there, the Diamond League has been around for a long time. There's the American Track League. There's the World Shot Put Series. So there's all these different kind of events trying to, merge that gap in space. Yep. From the Olympic years to the non-Olympic years. But there's still some issues to be ironed out, and we see what can happen. I do think there's a lot of smart people and a lot of great sports leagues out there. There has to be some kind of way to create a world, sporting event in athletics that can compete in outside of a world championships or outside of the Olympics, where these athletes can compete, where it doesn't have to be all these different things too, because now it's going to be equally difficult to find out when does Athlos come on, when does the Diamond League come on, then Grand Slam track. And then there's the thing about prize money. And then we get into the nitty gritty of it. The long distance runners, those aren't necessarily the premier events. Where's their space to be able to compete during these times in these non-Olympic years? And the same thing for those individuals who compete in the field events. Athlos did, I believe they introduced long jump, because Tara Davis Woodhull is a gold medalist, or at least a silver medalist in the long jump, is a part of it. But you're gonna have to add the javelin,
we want to see it all.
Right, we want to see it all. So we'll see what happens this coming year, of which one fights to the death to be the preeminent.
Who comes out on top?
Who comes out on top? It's the America's Next Top Model for track and field.
Right.
Really quickly, there is the French Open coming up. Coco Gauff, USA's Coco Gauff and Madison Keys will face off in the quarterfinals. That happens on Wednesday. Coco Gauff hasn't won a title since, it's been a few years now, and she's been playing really well.
Who you got?
I think it's Coco's time.
Yeah.
I think
it's been long enough.
Yeah, her serve still gives me a bit pause, but I think she's primed and ready to win the French Open. I think she had a really, really good draw. If she's able to get past Madison Keys, I think, it's cruising. Like I say, it's all on her racket. And if she locks in, I think this is Coco Gauff's to lose. Moving right along, like we pressing ahead. This is our full court press segment. We're going to head over to basketball. The WNBA is in full swing. Of course, who can beat the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty? Even
probably
early in
either
the season,
one of them.
It's looking very repeat finals.
Yeah, it's given they're going to go back and forth all season.
Right. Both of these teams are undefeated. New York looks absolutely ridiculous. And the Lynx, even they had a couple of games where Kayla McBride didn't play. They had a game where Nafisa Collier didn't play, and they're still rattling off wins. So they just look dominant. So there's really no need to go through any of the other power rankings. But the other headlines, Indiana doesn't look so good with an injured Caitlin Clark out.
They don't. That's a little scary for them, especially with the talent that they have. You would expect them to still be able to pull out wins, but that shows that she is leading that team at that point guard position, and that shows her leadership and her ability to command that team. So her presence is definitely being her presence is definitely being missed out there on the court for them
for sure. They just signed Ari McDonald to come in on a hardship because a couple of their guards, Sidney Colson got hurt, Sophie Cunningham got hurt. So they're dealing with a lot of
Injury
that
bug.
stuff in Indiana. They looked good starting out, but when Caitlin went down, Coach White gonna have to bring out the big board to
Yeah.
knock off some of these
Figure out who.
wins.
Yep.
Now listen, Dallas, any team that gets the number one pick, they're not supposed to be. It takes a minute for them to get good and be good. No team gets the number one pick that just won a championship. So you're not looking at a big time contender. But our expectation was the talent they brought in. Dejanay Carrington, Alyssa Smith, Enrique's there, Maddie Segrist is playing, and then you bring in Paige Becker's here. McCowan is still there. We expected them to look a little better. They can't really piece it together.
They cannot, and it's what do you say?
Yeah,
what do you say? I feel like it's a little too early. I don't know to question coach, but there are some decisions that are made.
Very first year coach.
It is, and again, you give grace. You got a rookie that you're trying to have really build around your team. You know what I mean? Enrique's been there. A lot of these players are vets, but you look at Paige as somebody that you're looking to build your team around for the future. So I think it's going to be some growing pains. I think we expected the growing pains, but as the season goes on, I hope to see them be able to put some wins together. But right now, it's looking scary for Dallas right now.
Yeah, head coach Craig Coughlin's, sir, my phrase, you're going to have to get the big board out because it looked like people are calling for you, sir, because the team is just not to me, on paper, they have pieces, but it's just not. It's not clicking. It's
not connecting. It's not connecting.
And I don't necessarily want to put it on one player right now, but we're gonna chalk it up to being early because we did have them as a playoff team. Real quick, the next kind of story is what's going on with Rickea Jackson and the Los Angeles Sparks. She was out with a concussion. She got hit in the face, but then, it was taking the Sparks out of her IG handle. It was Coach Lynn Roberts coming out saying that she's out for personal reasons, and then there's everybody speculating, and it's like, would this be the first rookie out of that 2023 class or 2024 class that opts for a trade? And if so, where do you see her going?
Oof. That's a hard one because yeah, I don't even have a place. I don't have a destination for her. But I am interested to see what comes about that because that was a bit shocking.
Yeah, I mean, she's one of these young ones you expected with her, with Cam Brink. They bring in Kelsey Plum. They have Dearica Hamby. Those are some really, really nice pieces to build around. Azurá Stevens is still there. They haven't been able to rattle off any wins. They don't necessarily generate a lot of offense. Like I said, Rickea's been out with that injury, and she could be extraordinarily helpful on the offensive side of the basketball because right now it just looks like Kelsey Plum is trying to do everything she can offensively, which is she gonna need some help. But I think something to keep an eye out on is what's going on with Rickea Jackson because she's too big of a talent to be on the outs with the Sparks. Although, mark me, I am not a fan of that organization for years because it's been one of those ones that teeters on operating efficiently as long as they've been a part of the WNBA and is very hit or miss.
Yes.
So, keep your eye on that. Our She Did That segment, we want to give a shout out. This is year 2 of the Professional Women's Volleyball Federation. They're champions, the Orlando Valkyries. They won 3-1 in the finals. They were able to finish the season 18-10, which is really good. They kind of did the weird thing, worst to first. So the first inaugural season, they were, I think, tied for last place, only to return this year, put some more work in, and able to capture the league's second championship. So obviously it's a big thing for women's volleyball. You guys heard us talk about that a lot in all the different leagues. We do want to mention, even though she did that, again, shout out to the Orlando Valkyries, the Omaha Supernovas, who won the league's first championship, will head over to the Major League Volleyball League next year.
Yes.
So there's still some pieces.
Was that 3, 4?
3 Athletes
I think
Unlimited,
that's the fourth one.
Major League Volleyball, PVF,
Love B.
and League One Volleyball. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Look at me, Love B. I don't
Love B. They're still operating and
know.
changing
Yes.
in all those chess pieces. But
Yes.
congratulations to the Orlando Valkyries. So really quickly, we want to just shout out a couple of things to watch during this week and going into next week as well. There's a lot of women's sports you can tune into. The WNBA's Commissioner's Cup game will be all through this week and next week. The Commissioner's Cup game, whoever wins those games 1 and 2 will play in the Commissioner's Cup. Obviously get a nice financial reward.
Yes.
The Lynx and the Liberty were there last year. We'll see, judging by how they're playing, if they return.
It's looking like repeat.
Right. The NCAA Women's Softball World Series. The semifinals are going on now, but they will be facing off in the finals. We don't know who the two teams will be just yet. We know one, but that will happen this weekend. So if you have the opportunity to tune in, obviously softball is just gaining so many different.
Yeah, I can't lie, I've been locked into these. Like them games have been fun to watch. So
right,
that might be a new one we got to tap into.
We do. So Texas is heading to the World Series final. It's either going to be Texas Tech, so that would be wild. Texas Tech versus Texas. And they have the phenom on their team, Nigeria, Canada, who got the $1.5 million NIL deal, generational talent pitcher. She probably is on the mound right now, so we'll see if we get a Texas Tech and Texas NCAA World College Softball World Series championship. Then obviously the French Open that we mentioned. The NWSL will be back this week after an international break. And if any fans in Ohio, the 2025 OHSAA track and field finals will happen. The semifinals will be on Friday. The finals will be on Saturday. If you want to come out and see some of the state's top talent in track and field, we'll be there providing coverage. But once again, we hope you enjoyed our show. I am Candace, that is Kay. Follow us on all of our social media platforms: Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, X, GirlsOnlySportsNetwork.com. The whole deal. This is the Playbook, and we are Girls Only Sports.